DarkLord, the prototype champion, is a lady? Have all the data miners just been trolled and all the people doing the spicy speculation? So if you didn't know, there's people that look into the data that comes out with the public test server for each of the releases. The current release is OB51, which has a new champion Ashe, but it also has lots of little spicy speculation and information about what's coming next. So the first big one is that DarkLord has been renamed to Zhin, Z-H-I-N. So doing a little bit of investigation here, Zhin is a female name. Although apparently in Mandarin, it also means being in the process of something, which isn't all that helpful, but in Chinese it means treasure and is a female name. Now this could be the biggest troll we've ever had from the devs putting something into the data mines, because obviously DarkLord, Lord gives the intonation that it's a male, and now we may have been trolled, although Zhin may also be a troll too. It does throw a little spanner in the works as to what the champion will be exactly. The naming conventions haven't exactly meant what the champion is, although Ashe, the latest champion, kind of creates Ashe with their flat cannon, and also how they burn their weapon when they charge it up to do the sort of cone of fire blast. So it doesn't necessarily mean that Zhin, the name itself, meaning treasure, has to have anything to do with the champion. And it's really hard to try and place things from this name onto the champion's abilities we know so far, because that's Billow, Whirl, Spite, and Counter. Now this champion is the champion that we're speculating at the moment that they have some sort of blade and slashes somehow in front of them. They combo attacks and then can also whirl around and basically flail into enemies and hit people in an area, a bit like the way Juggernaut from Dota 2 can spin around and do a spin attack. It also has this odd counter ability where it blocks one attack. And in the last patch, OB50, the data mining showed us a few of the legendary cards, like Whirl having extra attack speed, Spite dealing 20% of the target's maximum life with every hit. This Spite is the ultimate where basically you jump on them and start stabbing them, we're guessing at the moment. And you're stuck in the animation, but you do damage to the enemy champion and also stun them. Then the counter legendary, after countering attack, you remain in your counter stance, so whether it counters 2 attacks, not entirely sure there. The only thing is, how do you apply treasure to any of these? It could just be that we do still get this very edgy, blade-wielding, almost like Androxus-like female character in the game that's like the Dark Lady of the game, well, Zhin. And maybe a very sort of East Asian theme to the character, although that's all speculation too. But that was just interesting to talk about because now we know their name, but we also know some other things that have been brought forwards. The next big thing was the champion that was previously Rifle has been renamed to Princess. Again, might be a troll, as DarkLord could have been a troll, and it gives us more of an idea of what this Rifle wielder, perhaps. Maybe it won't be a rifle now that they're a princess, or maybe it's going to be a rifle-wielding princess. Who knows? Maybe they're going to be sort of going against the stereotype of, say, Princess Peach from Mario or something like that, with like a rugged Princess Peach with a gun and like torn-up dress and stuff like that. So she's been tagged as a damage champion. Just to mention before, Zhin is a flank champion, but I mean, again, Princess is a female tag, but they've given us some of the cards for the champion. So Valor, this is the ability that has some form of either blast or it sort of jumps to enemies and does an attack in an area. But there's 4 cards. So Eagle's Emerald reduces the cooldown of this Valor ability whenever you get a headshot by 1, 2, 3, or 4 seconds at each level. Then we have Revitalizing Gem, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Basically heals 30, 60, 90, 120 for every enemy hit with Valor. Now it seemed that you could hit loads of enemies when it was shot into skies in the test map. If it hits 5 people, that's going to be 600 damage healed. Shining Topaz, Valor reveals enemies for 1, 2, 3, or 4 seconds. Now, because it hits enemies in an area, it might even hit invisible enemies and then mark them, so it could be useful against the Sky, Charlene, and Ceres perhaps. Presence is the one where you go into a status mode, you get extra damage, and the Signet Ring, 1, 2, 3, or 4, you also gain 10, 20, 30, or 40% movement speed for 3 seconds after using Presence, which could just allow you to charge down enemies a bit easier or get in and out of fights. Royal Seal, 1, 2, 3, or 4, increase the range of presence by 8, 16, 24, or 32%. Now this one's interesting because what is the range of presence? Because before it was just almost like a status effect that was on yourself, but now it's sort of suggesting that enemies have to perhaps be closer to you, maybe it has effects on other people, which is quite interesting. Heraldry, 1, 2, 3, or 4, reduces the cooldown of presence by 1, 2, 3, or 4 seconds. Just a general cooldown card. Present Arms, 1, 2, 3, or 4, gain 10, 20, 30, or 40% reload speed after 4 seconds after using presence. This one might be used depending on how the champion fires. So if you didn't know, Princess, aka Rifle, fires her rifle in a sort of semi-automatic way in that you have single shots, or you can hold down the trigger, but they almost have a break in between each shot, not like the almost full automatic that Victor and Tyra have. Basically, with the Presence, you'll be doing all the critical damage that Presence gives you, and then also you'll have really fast reload speed after you've used it, so that's the aggressive part and putting out the most damage possible. Next up is Grace, which we think is the escape ability, and the first card is Heir to the Throne, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it makes you move 10, 20, 30, or 40% faster during Grace. So the reason I'm fairly sure that Grace is a movement ability is because of the second card, Manifest Destiny 1, 2, 3, and 4, which increases the dash distance of Grace by 8, 16, 24, or 32%. Now on the public test server, when XLAU, the person that data mined the server and also was able to apply that to the public test server and play the champions without models or anything, the movement ability in the PTS was broken. Now, usually if it's broken, like on Ashe and their ultimate, it means that the character moves somehow during that ultimate. If you have like a speed ability, it'll allow you to give the speed buff, but it seems that when the champion runs an animation and then moves, then it seems to bug it out. So it could be that there's a stop on the character, and then it moves forward after that, and there's like a dash, so maybe there's a slight animation and a dash with this ability. So this card obviously increases the distance of that. In the PTS, we didn't actually see them move forward at all, because even though the animation bugged out, after the animation, nothing happened, and I could see on the footage that they didn't actually move anywhere, which is a bit confusing, but it could just be that that was completely broken. Anyway, on to the other cards. Heir to the Throne allows you to move 10, 20, 30, or 40% faster during this Grace, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 levels. Bloodline 1, 2, 3, or 4 heals for 50, 100, 150, 200 health after using Grace. So after you've used a movement ability, then you'll get a heal. And finally, Divine Right 1, 2, 3, or 4 gives 10, 20, 30, or 40% movement speed for 2 seconds after using Grace. This one's interesting because it gives you the option of having a 2 seconds after you've used the ability or during you're using it. Again, these two abilities are a little bit confusing to what we saw in the public test server, and things might have changed. Only because Presence sounds like it doesn't have a time when you're using it, but Grace does. But Grace didn't in the PTS seem to move you forwards. Either way, it's quite interesting there. Finally, Armor, which is just on the character. Noble Crest gives 50, 100, 150, or 200 health base. This is quite a popular pickup on champions, so might be something we see here. Inheritance 1, 2, 3, or 4. Eliminations reduce all cooldowns by 10, 20, 30, or 40%. Again, a popular one for people that are decent at the game and getting a lot of eliminations. They aren't an AoE champion, so they're not getting all the eliminations, but because it's a semi-automatic rifle, like other more leaning towards the automatic weapons, it is easy to hit several enemies and participate in the kills, so that could be a big pickup. Highborn 1, 2, 3, 4 gives 5, 10, 15, or 20% movement speed base, which could be something you pick up, not entirely sure. The thing is, because on the PTS you didn't seem to move that much, maybe there is a little bit of a dash, and we didn't see it, so it could be that the movement ability, the escape, isn't very good, or you don't get very far. Like Tyra and some of the other champions, you might need this movement speed base to be really viable. Finally, Superiority 1, 2, 3, or 4, you cannot be slowed below 50, 60, 70, or 80% of your base movement speed. So again, sort of points to the fact that they probably don't have a lot of movement to begin with, and all these are quite interesting. So there's something else that's also confusing and throws a spanner in the works, and maybe pointed towards the fact that a lot of things have changed since that gameplay revealed by XO, is that the legendary card for Grace says Grace now hits all enemies in front of you instead of only one, and the cooldown is reduced by 2 seconds. So it could still be the movement ability, but perhaps once you do the little dash, if somebody's in front of you, you somehow attack them. But it's a bit confusing, and also it apparently hits all enemies in front of you if you use it, which also points towards the ability that looked a lot like the explosive ability in the footage. So that could have been it, but I do think that was Valor. Finally, there's Transcendence, and this is for Enlightenment. Now, that Enlightenment hasn't been mentioned before, so perhaps Enlightenment is the ultimate, but we haven't seen that in any of the data mines or in the footage just yet. I don't know whether XLAU has talked about it before, but I can't find it. But apparently you get 2 more shots during Enlightenment. But what exactly Enlightenment is, who knows? Maybe it really buffs up the shots or slows people down whilst you're firing. but it's just guessing at this point. The other prototype champions that are worth mentioning is that they've put in a champion called Bolt, and there isn't a lot of information about them at all, nothing there. They've got 2,000 health points and 360 speed, same as Makoa's, but the thing is, Bolt is the name of Ruckus mech, so whether that's just sort of a weird code name for the moment, and maybe we're going to get another mech, maybe that's what they're hinting at, maybe it's like a little hint by the developers themselves, who knows, it could be nothing. Also, there's Astro, who was also teased, but no real information about them just yet. And that used to be called Buff back in OB49. Just worth mentioning is that because DarkLord has now been named, it will be likely that DarkLord or Zhin is next. Now, Princess, if that is really the final name or another code name, maybe even a troll, would likely be the one after that. And then finally, Astro, that was data mined in OB49, is likely to be third, unless Stoker, the wall running champion, comes out somewhere before that. Hi-Res are always working on several champions at a time, which means that we're likely to have quite a few already lined up, and maybe they will mix up the release schedules, but every data mine has been right so far, and that has been how it's worked. The champions had their full name given in the data files, and then they've come out. So we're really likely to get Zhin teased next Friday when they do the next patch reveal. Another big thing worth mentioning is that there's a new game mode in the works, and there's a new map called Work in Progress Dockworth KOTH, and there's also District KOTH, a District KOTH version 2. It could mean that they're working on some kind of King of the Hill type mode. Obviously it's Koth, King of the Hill, but District is one of the old PTS maps, so perhaps they're repurposing it and just making a full-on King of the Hill mode. One of the normal maps that has been teased is Dwarven Tomb. So is it perhaps Barrack's ancestors being put into a tomb? We can only guess at this point. And finally, just some skins. There's an Inara skin in the works called Ice, which could be an Ice Lady. That could be pretty cool, and Ice Walls and things like that, although you might have the May Overwatch comparisons. Stop it now. No. Finally, Ruckus has one that hasn't been named yet, and also there's a beach themed skins coming, likely for like a summer themed skin set. They're simply called Beach at the moment, but there's one for Cassie, definitely, and Lawman. Don't know if they really want to see Lawman in trunks, but I'm sure somebody might like to. Definitely looking forward to that Cassie one. And finally, it's going to be called the Beach Chest, which is pretty cool. Anyway, those are all of the champion prototypes and things coming forward. What does everybody think? Does anyone else have some different speculation than I've gone off? Does anyone think that Zhin will actually be some sort of pirate or something, a treasure hunter? Or do you think it's just a big troll, and do you think they'll actually be like some super edgy lady, or maybe not a lady at all? Be sure to let me know in the comment section all your speculation anyway. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to me for more, and I'll see you all next time. I hope my video's been okay today. I'm doing it from Taiwan, on a different microphone, on a really crappy laptop, so we'll just have to see how this one works out. But thank you all very much for watching. Until next time, Joshino.